Chelyabinsk. In February of 2013, a meteor streaked over the town of Chelyabinsk, glowing with the intensity of 30 suns and eventually exploding in the air in the largest air burst since 1908's famous Tunguska event. It hospitalized over 1,200 people and received worldwide interest. Not only was it an extremely strange phenomenon, but no one had seen it coming. This is truly frightening because it means such an incident could happen anywhere, anytime, and with no prior warning. However, some Chelyabinsk citizens are less concerned about the destructive meteor and more about the things it might have attracted to their city. A few weeks after the incident, the town was still licking its wounds when it witnessed a seemingly impossible phenomenon, a giant bright orb that hovered over the night sky. The night before, an eerie glowing fog encompassed a part of the area. These two inexplicable phenomena that we know of, happening shortly after the meteor fell, is hard to brush away as coincidence, especially as both events have numerous eyewitnesses and even photographic evidence. Then again, even UFO enthusiasts note that the area was full of ice fog at the time, so there is a chance at least part of these events could be caused by reflections from the city lights. The Saqlain creature. The Saqlain creature was found by Russian soldiers on the eastern coastline of the country. It was a terrifying, decomposed carcass of a large aquatic monster that was clearly not a fish, yet didn't resemble an alligator or a crocodile. Its remaining skin showed clear signs of hair, and its build made it seem like a long, extinct beast like an aquatic dinosaur. Sadly, however, this mysterious relic was reportedly taken in by the military, so civilian scientists never had a chance to research it. Of course, they didn't really need to. The Saqlain creature is pretty clearly the skeleton of a large beluga whale that had washed up on an empty shore long before the soldiers stumbled upon it. The fur that makes it seem so alien is like nothing more than the remains of its decomposing flesh. Even so, pictures of this prehistoric monster still occasionally emerge online. Kremlin. Few places in Russia have a more layered history than the Kremlin, Moscow's giant, fortified government district. It has seen more than its share of deceit and death. As such, the complex has quite a few ghosts roaming its corridors and alleyways. Since the Kremlin has been a place of power for centuries, many of its ghosts are famous. Ivan the Terrible, a particularly cruel 16th century ruler, is said to mourn his many sins in the Great Bell Tower, his footsteps clearly audible to those who dare to listen. Some say he visited Tsar Nikolai II, Russia's last Tsar, who was killed by the communists right before the latter's coronation as a bad omen. Another famous ghost of the Kremlin is none other than Lenin, whose ghost was already haunting the premises a good 3 months before he actually died. The most famous spectre stalking the Kremlin is perhaps unsurprisingly that of Joseph Stalin. Even in death, the ruthless dictator is said to manifest in times of crisis, as if to order the current rulers to return order by any means necessary. According to legend, Stalin's restless spirit is present whenever a room in the Kremlin suddenly goes cold. Screams from Hell. Many of you may already know this, but I thought that it's impossible to leave it off a list like this. In 1984, Soviet geologists undertook a monumental task in Siberia. They drilled a massive 14.4-kilometer hole in Earth's crust. The original intent of this experiment was to create an experimental well, but the researchers got more than they bargained for when they found out that the depths of the pit carried the screams of hell itself. The pit opened into a hellish temperature of 1093 Celsius, or 2000 Fahrenheit, a scorching heat where nothing could possibly live. Still, agonizing, terrified screams could be heard from the depths. The leader of the project, Dr. Azakov, was initially skeptical about the sounds, but eventually was convinced that they had indeed accidentally opened a portal to hell. His decision was probably helped with the massive bat-winged spectral figure that arose from the pit on the first night after the sounds started and painted the words, "I have conquered," in Russian, using the night sky as its canvas. Well, that's the story anyway. In reality, the pit was a perfectly ordinary borehole on the Kola Peninsula, and the temperatures encountered never exceeded 82 degrees Celsius or 180 Fahrenheit. Somewhere down the line, some rather disreputable news media came up with a neat yet completely fabricated story about a well to hell and decided to add a touch of credibility by placing the story on a real drilling website. So that's it for today's video. Thank you so much for watching, and I really hope you enjoyed it. If you did, make sure to leave a like. Until the next video, goodbye.